Welcome, everyone, to the Week 9 series of Just Saying Football with Jack and Sean. I'm your host, Sean Gann, alongside my partner, Jack McNicholas. We're here to bring you news, notes, weekly updates, and game analysis of your favorite teams from around the league. If you have not had the chance, go check us out on our website at justsayingfootball.com and on Instagram for article and video updates at justsayinogwjs. Oh, got some excited fans over there coming up for the Sunday football. I don't know if you guys can hear them. The late afternoon games kick off with 3 games, and then we have a great Sunday night football matchup. So let's get right into these games. The Steelers are going to be in Dallas taking on the Cowboys, Jack. Let's run us through that game.
Oh, man, this is a tale of two cities, as we call it here. You know, it's just Steelers undefeated and Dallas Cowboys starting Cooper Rush off their practice squad this week, who has, been on the active roster for the Cowboys before, but this is going to be a really tough one in Dallas. The Steelers are coming in with the defense that is just great right now. They're not allowing, many yardage at all right now. They're 5th in total yards, 6th in points allowed. The Cowboys right now are really, really struggling, and it doesn't look too good for them in this one.
Yeah, the Cowboys are seeing a lot of turnover in the quarterback room. You've gone from Dak Prescott, losing him to a brutal season-ending injury again, wishing him a very quick recovery, able to be back on the field for next season and to continue what he was doing on this season. Then you had Andy Dalton now on the COVID list for them. Then you got Ben DiNucci, who did not look good last week against the Eagles, and now you're down to Cooper Rush. You've brought back in to play for you guys, and I just think if you're the Cowboys, we've talked about it, it's gonna run through Zeke, but Zeke's been struggling. He's now popped up on the injury report as questionable. Expect him to play though. Don't expect him to be out. But this offense is struggling, and what's crazy about this is saying that this offense is struggling, but Amari Cooper is still healthy. CeeDee Lamb is still healthy. Michael Gallup is still healthy. They just haven't found the quarterback who can get the ball to these guys whatsoever. And I don't see how the Cowboys could possibly win this game. To me, it's a very clear-cut Steelers win. I'm not saying that the Steelers should feel, okay, we're going to walk in there and just trounce them, because when you go in with that mentality, any team can beat you if you come in with that. So I'm going to go with the Steelers. I don't see the offense of the Cowboys doing much. They've also only put up 22 points over the last 3 weeks since the Dak Prescott injury. So
and that's only about a touchdown a week, which is just unacceptable in this league. You're never going to win games like that. The Steelers, on the other hand, they have been able to just continuously dominate people on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. That's why they're undefeated. They've been top 10 in major categories in offense. They have a very high scoring offense right now, 5th best. And I'm looking for, big games out of Juju, James Washington, Deontay Johnson, Chase
Claypool.
Chase Claypool. These guys, they have, as we say here, a plethora of weapons. And Big Ben is no shortage of a quarterback that can tear a team with a backup quarterback. He's been in the league so long. TJ Watt is really doing his thing on the defensive side, 6.5 sacks.
That entire defense.
Yeah, the entire defense. Last week they had a backup. Devin Bush is out. The backup gets a pick 6 as a linebacker. It's impressive. The scheme is just too much for Cowboys this week.
So good. And also, they just traded for Avery Williamson from the Jets. So a guy who was playing really well a couple of years ago, came back from the ACL tear last year. They traded for him, and he goes from an 0-17 to a 7-0 team and a great defense. So I'm sorry, Cowboys fans. I'm sorry, Cowboys.
Yeah. Next game here, we're going up to LA on the West Coast. 2-5 Chargers hosting their division rival, the 4-3 Raiders. The Raiders are a team I've mentioned to you, personally, just talking that I think that with these 7 wild card spots in the AFC, the Raiders are really looking to try to get that 7th seed or try to be one of those teams that edges into the playoffs. And I think that the way Derek Carr is playing right now is just fantastic. 71% on the season, 14 touchdowns, 2 picks. But how are we feeling about this game? This is a big AFC West battle.
This is going to be a fun game, I think. I think what we're seeing is 2 quarterbacks with really, really big arms and the weapons to go deep when they want to and when they need to. It should be a lot of fun. And also, fun thing about these offenses, they both have really, really good run games.
Yeah.
Josh Jacobs for the Raiders carries the bulk. We saw him go off last week for over 30 carries and over 120 yards. And then on the flip, we've seen both Josh Kelly and Justin Jackson really pick up the slack for Austin Eckler since he's gone to the IR.
Yeah.
Keenan Allen, by the way, is Herbert's man. I mean, he just only looks his way. It's really interesting to see that. I want to see Henry Ruggs, though. I really want to see this deep ball to Henry Ruggs. I want to see more of it. I love what Carr has been doing. You're absolutely right. He's having a great season. A 14-2 TD to interception ratio is exactly what you want to see. Big wins against the Chiefs is what you want to see under John Gruden as your head coach. I think it's going to be a really, really fun game. I am going to go with the Raiders in this one. I think that what we've seen from the Chargers is a little bit worrisome, giving up leads consistently throughout the season, whether it's the Saints or the Buccaneers or last week against the Broncos. This team, similar to the Falcons, has been giving up leads, and they may be without Joey Bosa, who is concussed, and he didn't practice this week, and they're probably going to keep it safe. You don't want to put a guy like that who's coming off a concussion into the field and risk him getting injured again. So they're probably not going to have him, which is one of their premier edge rushers and is one of the best edge rushers in the league.
Yeah, gonna have to get it done on the offensive side of the ball through the Chargers this week. But Herbert looking great seems to be the lock starter. Even if Tyrod Taylor were to come back, this kid is having a lot of fun with this game right now. 67%. He's only right behind Carr in yards by a little bit. He's really been just fighting for this job, knowing that he's starting, but he's playing so well, throwing to Keenan Allen, utilizing Mike Williams in a completely different way than Phillip Rivers used him, and a 15-5 touchdown interception ratio in 6 games. That impresses me. This kid is really looking great. I am going to go with the Chargers at home this week with the fact that I wanted to go with the Raiders, but I am going to trust Justin Herbert. Last week, I think that they're going to come and play angry, and they know this Raiders team. Losing a game like that, the Chargers have to be angry. They've blown all these leads, and they want to stay competitive. They have taken so many hits this year. Pouncey, Chris Harris, Eckler, Derwin James, all in the IR. Trey Turner's out this game, a very good guard for their run game. But I do believe that they will get it done at home.
Do you think it's going to be over or under 52 points? That was a line that I saw earlier today.
I think it will be under 52 points. I'm looking at like a game where I think that the familiarity of these teams will, change the philosophy of what we expect. Like, I don't think it will be that much, but I am looking for that big Ruggs touchdown, like you said. I want to see that Tyreek Hill type of speed shown off on the edge, get him some separation and a deep ball. Let's see what he does with it.
I'll take the over on that 52, by the way. I think both these teams could easily put up 4 touchdowns apiece between what they can do on these deep balls and how they've been efficiently running the ball throughout the season. I think we could easily see a pretty high-scoring game from these two teams.
Yeah, love that. Take the over. And the next game, we got 2 teams winning records. Miami 4-3 at the Cardinals 5-2. Miami right now, I know you're huge on them with a 3-game win streak, but how are they going to go in there and try to catch up with Kyler and slow down the all-world DeAndre Hopkins?
I think it's going to start with what they did last week against the Rams, which is the entire team rallied behind Tua. Not the greatest game in the entire world. I did say 2 touchdowns. He only threw for 1. He was 12 for 22, only 93 yards. But again, 93 passing yards and you still get the win. That doesn't really happen. We saw a lot of special teams touchdown. We saw 4 defensive turnovers for them last week, 2 forced fumbles, 2 interceptions. This team is starting to become what you expected when you bring in a guy like Brian Flores. Yeah. They seem to have all bought into what Brian Flores is going to bring to the table. We saw it at the end of last season a lot when the Dolphins began to surge. They're almost right at their win total from last year. They're just 1 game away. If they win 2 games for the rest of the season, they've had a better season than last year, and they've improved. What I want to see from Tua, though, is over 100 yards passing. I know that's silly. He was 7 yards off, but when you got a rookie quarterback like that, you want to see a little bit more. You want to see some of these big plays. And I think Devontae Parker, you're having a slightly down season compared to what we saw last year. Let's pick it up this game. Let's see what you can do against them. They're not going to have any Dre Kirkpatrick, which could be a huge boost for them. They'll still have Budda Baker for the Cardinals, but let's see Devontae Parker. I want to see Mike Gesicki get more involved. Preston Williams, come on, Tua. Let's throw this ball. Let's hit these guys. What we saw in college from him at Alabama was efficiency. He was so good at finding any wide receiver at any given moment to find the open man. Let's transition that for the Dolphins. Find these open men. Let's see you throw for over 100 yards.
Yeah, I love that. You want to see him just get better and better every week. On the other hand, we've seen Kyler this year take a huge step, not just game by game, but the year last year he had to this year. He has really come in as the guy who got picked number 1 overall, Cliff Kingsbury's guy, and they're really doing it right now. They are, they're the number 1 in the league in offense right now in total yardage. I'm looking at Chase Edmonds this week with no Kenyon Drake. We saw Chase Edmonds come in for David Johnson and basically steal his job before they traded for Kenyon Drake last year. And I think that he's going to do the same thing to Kenyon Drake this year. I think that Chase Edmonds is a productive guy in a scheme that is working right now. This air raid system is something that, a lot of college coaches come into the NFL and they cannot perfect it. And, Cliff Kingsbury's got his guy running it, his all-world, DeAndre Hopkins out on the outside. Christian Kirk is playing well. This offensive line, although it's not the highly touted offensive line, they are helping Kyler extend these plays. I'm going to go with the Cardinals at home because I just loved what they did last week against, in the overtime game. I want to see them really just use Isaiah Simmons, as we've been talking about. We're huge on him, but without Chandler Jones there, you're missing somebody to run off the edge, and he has the speed to do it. And with this one with Miami, you're going to want to shut down Myles Gaskin easy. Give him an assignment to man coverage or spy on Tua. Keep him on the left side a little shooken up. I'm going to go with the Cardinals on this one.
I'm going to defer. Screw it. Dolphins are going to get the surprise win in Arizona. I really like what this team has done over the past 2 years. I talked about them in the offseason in one of our articles that they would be a team to surprise and actually compete this year. And thus far, they've lived up to my expectations. And I expect them to continue to be on that despite the injuries that they have and despite the game they're going against. Again, when you sign Byron Jones and you re-sign Xavier Howard to these contracts, you're expecting them to be able to slow down guys like DeAndre Hopkins. And I want to emphasize the slow down part. You will never be able to outright shut down DeAndre Hopkins, but to slow him down would be huge. I think that what we saw last week with a lot of turnovers is their ability to get after the quarterback, which could be really, really effective for Kyler going up against Kyler Murray. Although he's having a good season, he has thrown 7 interceptions on the season. And you want to see if you can try to get that up a little bit more for the Dolphins and try to get an interception for him, turn the ball over, give it back to your young quarterback, and see if he can score. So I'm going to go with Dolphins more as a surprise pick. I want to be different from you and disagree with you. I'm going to go with the Dolphins.
Love that. Now we got, that was a great battle right there. Just 2 young quarterbacks that are going to, change the face of this game. But now we got 2 quarterbacks that have been changing the face of this game since, we've been around. And I'm looking for a huge Sunday night matchup here between New Orleans and Tampa, playing for the second time this year. They played, week 1. And I'm really looking for Antonio Brown. He's coming back. He's here. It's weird because last year this guy is, finding new ways to get kicked out of the league, fighting with Mike Mayock. He doesn't want to get traded to the team he gets traded to, the Bills, things like that. But now he's back and he's living in Tom Brady's house. They're having a couple throwing practices every day. This guy's had 2 months just to relax, and he's ready, and he's going to be there.
Absolutely. And then I think when you're looking on the reverse, Michael Thomas is finally back in the lineup for the Saints. At the very start when he went out, we saw them struggling offensively, and they've been able to find a rhythm now, mainly through Alvin Kamara, who is leading the team both in receiving with 556 yards off of 55 catches and rushing 431 yards off of 87 rushes. He's having a hell of a season. We could potentially see him have one of the 1,000 and 1,000 season. But if you're the Saints, you get Mike Thomas back, and you also get Emmanuel Sanders back. Jared Cook has been having a good season. You're finally getting your passing weapons back. And if you're Drew Brees, you're saying, thank you. It's going to be coming at a better time as we now are hitting the halfway point. And, we got to get it. We got to get it on for the second half of the season, especially up against Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is one of those things when Tom Brady signed to the Buccaneers, everyone was saying it's going to be Brady versus Breeze, and it is. Right now with Carolina and Atlanta both having losing records, these two teams are competing for the division at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the two guys that go back and forth, Tom Brady and Drew Brees, in the leader of touchdowns and leader of yards, because they are literally 1 and 2 going back and forth. This is going to be no different, though. I'm expecting a really big, high-scoring game, especially with Drew Brees having all of his weapons. Chris Godwin hurt. But, on the other hand, Rob Gronkowski's looked great for Tom Brady. He has weapons there. Scotty Miller, you were talking about it to me before. Scotty Miller is leading this team in receiving yards, and that just shows that Tom Brady – doesn't matter that he has 3 all-world receivers on his team. It matters that he has somebody to throw to. And if he can do that, he can continue what he's been doing the last 5 weeks. Of his 20 touchdowns this year, 14 have come in the last 5 weeks, and he's only thrown 1 interception over that time. I am looking for the Saints to win this game, actually. I think that with Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara, and all these guys coming back, it's going to be a huge one. But the Tampa Bay defense is good, but they are going to they did struggle against Drew Brees when he had all his weapons week 1. It was the Saints defense that really shut Tom Brady down. Which defense really scares you in this matchup?
Excuse me. I think it's actually the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that scare me a little bit more, and the main reason why is that week 1 matchup we saw just a great performance from the Saints defense. Since then they haven't been the best. They've been this middle of the pack. Marshawn Lattimore does not look to be the same cornerback that we saw from a few years ago. He's letting up a lot of touchdowns, a lot of big plays. Not what you want to see from your cornerback 1.
Yeah.
And same with Janoris Jenkins. And when we're talking about this team, Rob Gronkowski has 3 touchdowns for the last 3 games. This is a guy who was not really doing anything in the receiving for the receiving aspect of this team for such a long time, and now he's beginning to get it going. You're talking about Mike Evans and Antonio Brown and Chris Godwin. I'm just picturing this lineup on a 4-receiver set where it's going to be I got Mike Evans and Chris Godwin on my outside and Scotty Miller and AB on the inside. I just don't see how teams are going to be able to continue to try to slow down this team unless they're able to get pressure on Brady. And then when you look at what they're able to do running the ball, Ronald Jones has been great. Leonard Fournette, when healthy, is able to run the ball efficiently and at least give them a few yards here and there. He's a good ground and pound guy, especially in the red zone. He's a great running back.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I just think that they have so many weapons. I think Antonio Brown, I'll say it now, is going to find the end zone. And you want him to find the end zone because if he doesn't and he only does like 3 receptions for 17 yards with no touchdowns, everyone in the NFL world is going to say, what a bust of a signing. That was stupid.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay, what are you doing? You're making all these mistakes, blah, 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 blah. So he'll definitely get in the end zone. I'm just looking at this Tampa Bay team, and we talked about it a couple of weeks ago when they officially signed him. The rich get richer.
Yeah.
They found a way to get richer, and prior to everything that went down in Pittsburgh and his off-the-field issues and with the Raiders and even with the Bills a little bit, Antonio Brown has been, if not is, statistically the best receiver since he entered the league. Just what he's been able to do when he was with the Steelers was electrifying week in and week out. And now Brady gets that to match with Evans and Godwin and Miller and Jones and Rob Gronkowski. It's like, come on. I mean, I hope we get to see them make it to the playoffs, see what this team can really do when the games really mean a lot more and it's elimination time. But I think the Buccaneers are gonna win this one. They're also at home. You get that advantage back. It's gonna be a good game, though.
Yeah, definitely a good game. I'm gonna take Drew Brees and the Saints. You're taking Tom Brady and his gang of misfits of all of his friends and huge weapons, big offensive explosion going to be happening in this one. I'll tell you, with these two defenses being so good, I still don't believe that these quarterbacks are going to let it happen. This is Sunday night. This is prime time. Michael Thomas is back. AB is back, and Kamara is doing his thing. Everybody's looking good.
This is going to be a really, really great matchup. I actually cannot wait for this game. Do you think Antonio Brown or Michael Thomas will have more yards now that they are both going to be back on the field? Who do we have getting more yards?
I have Michael Thomas getting more yards. I think that, he's been, injured twice. He's had a benching this year. He wants to prove that last season he was the best receiver in the NFL, and he wants to prove that he is still the best receiver in the NFL. I personally, think that that's up for discussion, but, when you have 150 catches, you can't complain with that guy.
No, not at all. I also think you're absolutely right when you just look at what Michael Thomas has done for this team and the production that he brings to the team and how often Drew Brees looks towards him. It's going to be hard to say Antonio Brown's going to get 100 yards and Michael Thomas is only going to get like 90, when the reality of the situation is that I could easily see Mike Thomas having a Devontae Adams kind of game where we're going to see 14 receptions, 100-plus yards, and a couple of touchdowns, if not more, especially with him being back. All right, that is all the time that we got. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Enjoy the late Sunday afternoon games and the Sunday Night Football matchup, which should be a great one, and possibly the determining factor of who's going to win the NFC South.
Yeah, definitely going to be a big one. Excited to check it out. These afternoon games should be a couple of great divisional matchups, and the Steelers beating the Cowboys, which I always love. And, like Sean said, it's all the time we have. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching the Sunday afternoon games, Week 9. Check us out YouTube, justsayingfootball.com. Check us out, Just Saying, no GWJS on Instagram for all your updates, and our website, justsayingfootball.com. Thank you.
Thank you.